New Hoyt Alpha X33 on launch day. Let's check it out. Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. MFJJ here with PodiumArcher.com, looking at the new Alpha X33 from Hoyt. This is the platform of aluminum that I would personally more consider simply because of its size and its dimension and my draw length. This bow peaks out at 31 inches and has 1/4 inch draw length adjustment lengths, which is pretty freaking sweet. That's more of a spectrum that's I'd like to be able to play with better without having to manipulate my string and cable lengths, which would change the poundage. It's still got your front Picatinny mount as it has before in the past, rear rest mount as it did before, but look at the machining on this thing. Look at all the metal they cut out of here that they didn't cut out of here last year. There's so much more cuts and so much more time in here, and then they went ahead and did you a favor and didn't raise the price of the bow, which is pretty freaking awesome to see. Wider limb set now, so they've got a different limb pocket on here. The actual width of it is wider by, I think it's close to a 1/2 inch. It's like 3/8. So these are farther apart, which typically makes the bow more stable. They upgraded the axle size to a larger axle and machined aluminum spacers instead of plastic spacers, so you're not going to break one, which is pretty nice, although it wasn't a really common issue, I don't think. Just went to something different for that purpose. And then integrated V-bar bracket and some really awesome quiver options. And the way they mounted this, you can actually bring your quiver in farther than you could last year, which is even better, which is pretty exciting. So let's take some measurements on this sucker and see what we got. It's supposed to be 334 foot a second, 4.75 pounds, 33 5/16 axle to axle, 6 3/8 brace height. So let's measure some of that stuff and see what we get here. Watch out, baby. Gotta move. Okay. So front side of the screw to the far side of the screw. So we're 33 1/2, it looks like. Far side to far side. Yeah, 33 1/2, and we're looking for 33 5/16. So that's a little, yeah. It's a little longer. Not a terrible issue, but it is. 6 1/2 to the back of the string, and that's 6 3/8 on the brace. So this bow's actually got a little higher brace than they publish it at, which is cool. But they all have the same wheelbase, so that shouldn't change on its own. Overall riser length is running 30 inches, which is a good overall length for stability. Should be a real stable platform. Let's check our reflex here. Right about 2 inches on the reflex. Probably be a slight bit less if you took the grip off, which if I was to shoot this bow, I probably would. Let's check our physical weight. I'm going to pull the little stabilizer that comes with it off because it does come with a short stabilizer. Here we go. Let's see what we got for weight here. I'll zero it out. So this is coming in at 4.9 to 5.0, and we're looking for 4.75. If we take the arrow rest off there in the screw, that's almost right at 4.75, and those are on there, and they do come off, so that would technically not count as part of the weight. So if you took that off, this bow's actually under what they said it was, which is different than I got on their other ones, which is a nice plus. Oh, put this back on the bottom. Let's check our physical draw weight at 30 here, and then we'll check our draw length and see how close they are on what they say 30 inches is. This bow should hit over 70, so I'm probably going to have to adjust it like the other ones. .5, so we'll just have to go down a tiny bit. Try a 1/4. Yeah, for myself, I would probably be looking at this bow or the RX8 Ultra. Sorry, I was checking this. Oops, skipping ahead. Wow. That was too much, 69.3. .2, that's close enough. Let's check our arrow length. All right, and that is dead on 30 inches. That's perfect. So 30's 30 on this bow, folks. That's a positive thing. All right, my first 3 shots out of this bow, 350 grains, 70 pounds, 30 inches. That cycle's really great. Like I can't say enough good about the cycle draw on these bows. They feel really good. And there's a reason I just like this size of bow for hunting. It just feels really good overall for me because of my size. Great cycle. Probably have to take that off there and just be safe. Not sure what the heck these are. I probably look.
Couple of nuts.
Depending on the exact quiver, these bolts may be needed to attach your quiver to the mounting location on an Alpha X riser because it's so shallow. So they give you some special screws. Lovely. All right, let's get the vibe out and see how much this thing vibrates or doesn't vibrate. All right, first vibration test. $9.41. It's a low number, man. It's really good. $10.18. $10.51. So we'll give it a 10. That's a low number. That is a low number. Let's get some speed. All right, 350 grain arrows, 70 pounds, 30 inches. Let's see how fast this sucker is. $323. $324. $323. All right, let's try some heavier stuff. All right, 450s, 33-inch, 30-inch draw, 70 pounds. What do we got? 287. $287. I have to refletch this one here pretty quick. Vein's starting to peel. $287 3 times. Okay, so that's here. All right, 550s. $261. $261. $260. All right, draw cycle. That thing is smooth as silk, even for a more aggressive cam. I got to give the grip a 4. You can take the grip off, and what's underneath it feels pretty good, but I'm not a big fan of the exact grip. I would give the back wall a 4. It could be a little firmer, but it's still very good. Balance, as always, with Hoyt is a 5. They do a really good job of making that bow overall well balanced. Now, drop into speed. The published speed is 334 and I got 323. So I cannot give a 5 for that category, unfortunately. Honestly, I probably got to give a 3 because not only did you not hit the published speed that you said, the bow's kind of slow for that speed spec, to be honest. It's at 30 inches, it's not going to be a rocket ship. It's probably really fast at 29 if you were to test it at that, but at 30, it's not super fast, and that's what we're basing off of. Tunability, there is nothing other than a shim system. Now, they did change the axle assembly and put aluminum shims in there. I'll give you a 2, but you're not really doing anything to encourage tunability. However, in the features department, you've got the new bow go sticks, which are really freaking cool that are integratable to that bow. You've got a front mount sight, you got a rear mount rest, you got really great quivers, you got a V-bar built into the bow. I mean, you're doing a lot of features, so I'll give you a 5 there for sure. Your physical weight at 4.7, it came in under what you said it is, but for a bow that size, I'd like to see it weigh less than 4.5 pounds. I'll give you a 4 because you were more than honest about your weight, but I still think it could be a little lighter. I like the overall size of the bow, and if anything, you were a little long on your ATA. I'd give you a 5 if you hit it right, because that's a decent spec. But you're a little off on what your measurement said it was, so I can't give you that. Once again, with the brace is an adequate brace height for a forgiving bow, if you ask me. But it was a little off from what you said it was as well. It's off in the right direction. I'm going to give you a 5 anyway because that's a good overall spec for that config. Your actual draw was spot on. I'll give you a 5 on that. Your reflex geometry is a 2. It's better than the other ones, but it's still not great, so I'm going to give you a 3. I don't want to see that much reflex in a bow personally. Vibration at a 10. I got to give you a 5 on that because that's a really low number. I mean, the 30-inch bow was lower, but even at a 33, that's still a really great number on that forgiving of a platform and that large of a spread. Price, $13.49. You have a feature-filled bow, lots of features in it, decent speed, good overall feel and vibration, and a little slow, but for a longer bow, usually that guy's not as concerned about speed. And to not have raised the price with how much more machining's in that bow, let me grab that again and just cover that. Where'd I go? Here we go. Shut pooch. There is so much machining in this bow. There's a lot more time in the CNC for this than what they made before. Like, there's just cuts everywhere. And every time you see an extra cut in here, that's more machine time, which means this riser is more expensive to make, but they didn't raise the price on you. So I'm going to give them a 5 because of how much extra work they did in there for what you're paying. I mean, they were more expensive. Whoa, we're good. All right, thanks. They were more expensive than everybody else in that last year, but they didn't raise their price at all. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a 5 on that because you're getting a crap ton of features, a ton of machine time in there, and still coming in at $13.49. So let's see what we get. 5, 10, 20, 25, 28. 28 on the high score. All right. 5, 10, 18, 22, 26, 31 on the MFO. That is a heck of a nice bow, folks. It's definitely one to consider in all the choices out there. I really wish this came in a little bit faster and was a little bit lighter. But outside of that, this bow is really awesome. Now, granted, I would like to see some more tunability. I really hope they watch these videos. I think they do. This system, almost every bow manufacturer is addressing how difficult it is to move these around. And you're not. So I really wish you would pay attention to that and do something a little different in here to make life easier for people who are trying to tune their own bows, because at the end of the day, I want to encourage people to do their own work. And if this is difficult, it's going to be a hesitation to do. Just keep following along on the channel, guys. Check us out on Instagram as well. We're going to start posting on there a lot more, but I will swear to God I'll do that soon. And yes, the giveaways are coming. I know it's late. I'm sorry. I got really busy. I'm hoping to start them here in a week or two and move them in through Christmas. Because, I mean, why not be Santa and give away presents to the good little boys and the girls of this channel right around Christmas time anyway? They are still coming, and I'm assuming we're going to be able to do the same on this year's bows. Haven't had those conversations with them yet, but I think we're going to have the same thing. So there'll be a whole nother batch coming. It'll just be like Christmas all year. Thanks for watching.